Welcome to Clarity Design. We're going to have a quick look in Photoshop cs5.5 at how we can make stuff glow. Woohoo! Really cool. So, first thing you need to do is make a new file. So if you go to File, New, don't worry about the size, make it whatever you need. Down here this is absolutely fine for me. And because it's a glowing effect, having a white background isn't going to be very useful, so make the background white. Once you've made the background white, you can make a new layer so that you don't touch the background, and then go up to File, and you can either place an image, or you could make some text, or you could draw an image. It's up to you. I'm just going to place an object here so that we get that little bit of information there as well, so I'm going to make that a bit smaller so I can show you a couple of different examples. So there's my one-way sign that I'm going to use as an example. I'm going to place that just like that. Now before I go any further, I just want to right click, and in fact I'm going to duplicate that so I don't need to place it again. So drag down with the left click down to the new icon, and that will make a duplicate, and then I'm going to flatten that down so I don't want it to be a smart object anymore, so I'm going to rasterize the layer. Alright, so that little smart object icon goes away. Now all that means is that it's no longer linked to the original file, and that the Photoshop knows that it's the pixels on the screen. Right, so to make this object glow, the first thing I do is make a new copy of it, and then in the second copy, so now I've got 3 copies, I'll switch that one off. I can switch that one off as well, so you can see exactly what happens here. So I'm going to go up to Filter, I'm going to Blur, and Gaussian Blur, and then I can set how much I want it to blur by. So I can blur it out quite a lot there. Right, now what that has the effect of is when I switch on, so let's click OK. So when I switch on the original layer, you can see that now it looks like it's blurred out on top. So if I just drag that down from the first layer down to the third, that's a left click drag and let go. Now the edge looks like it's glowing a bit. And if I duplicate that by dragging down the second copy of the layer and duplicating it, it makes that glow stronger. Okay, I could keep going with this, or I could even go up and go Filter, and I could go Blur again, and I could Gaussian blur that even more. So I've got an even more blurred version, and that gives me a nicer effect. It gives me complete control over this blur. In fact, what I could do is switch those 2 layers off, so I'm back to the non-blurred version. Let's left click, drag that down, make a new copy of it. And this time when I go to blur, instead of using the Gaussian blur, I can use a directional blur or a motion blur. You can see that that's blurring in a particular direction. Make it a bit greater. Click OK. Drag that below the one above. And I'm starting to get quite a nice effect here going on. So let's do that again. Left click, make it a bit stronger. Okay, and maybe I want to go and filter that. Blur. Maybe now I want to do a Gaussian blur on that. So I'm getting a bit more of a shake on it. And you start to get the impression that you can that you've got some kind of dynamic energy in this one-way sign. Something's happening to it, and you can keep going with that. So you could do it with text as well. If you want to make neon signs, you can make neon signs. When you finish with it, I'd advise that you get your blur layers and you merge them down so that it gets less confusing. Or you could start making them children of each other, so you know which ones belong to which other ones. So you could start making them, make a folder for them and put them inside a folder. That way you don't get confused as to what's going on. So it's just a really simple way of making stuff glow, and with that effect you can make some really cool looking effects. Don't forget that you could do things like for example, you could make you could render a clouds, and then you could use that as a texture over the top or as a displacement map, or you could even use it just as a mask to make it more cloudy. I'll just show you what that looks like before I finish. So hopefully, let's just switch that off so we can see what I've got here. Yeah, so I'll just switch that off, just using this layer here, and I'll make a mask there, and with that mask selected I'll just make a render, and I'll just render clouds on it, and it breaks that down a lot. Okay, so I can just duplicate that up, and it gives me a much cloudier kind of effect, and again I can move that layer around, gives me a much softer effect, right, just by using the clouds on there on the surface, much softer effect. Anyway, I digress. So I will let you go and play, have fun, and come up with some nice glowing effects of your own. Enjoy.